Hello. You are listening to Angel Face Magic Hour. This is your favorite podcast for all things mystical, magical, and more. And my name is Grace Lannon. I am the host of this podcast. I am an intuitive, an energy healer, an artist. I do many things and I hold many hats. And I'm just so happy to be back with y'all. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Come hang out. We have many episodes for you to go back and listen to. And if you are a regular listener, hey, I missed you. It's been a minute. So we're back for season 4. I've been doing this podcast since 2020, and it's always been my intention to do a weekly episode, and it just never happens that way. It just never happens that way. So it's really hard for me to not be a perfectionist, not get really upset at myself and have like inner conflict in my mind when this is just something I'm doing for fun. Like, yes, it does help me build my business to do this podcast because it helps me put my voice out there and share, okay, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I do these things, you can come see me. But I really do this for fun and for my own personal healing. So it's like, I don't know why I get so tripped up in my mind of like, I have to do it this way or that way. Because my original intention with starting this podcast is to heal my voice and to allow myself to speak and to be heard. And I feel like sometimes it's hard for me to actually talk. Like, I feel like I have all these thoughts running in my mind. I'm already feeling like emotional by saying these things, but it's like I have all these thoughts running in my mind, and it's difficult to allow myself space to share. And I don't often feel throughout my life that I have had opportunities for people to listen. And I talked about this probably many times on the show, but that's something that I am healing and allowing people to listen to me, allowing my voice to be heard and to be seen. And so I feel like it's been this for the four years I've been doing this, but especially the last 2 years, um, it's really been this back and forth through my mind of like, I have to do this, I have to do this a certain way, and then never figuring out what way I actually want to do it as. And so, and I feel like yeah, I want it to be something that is scheduled, that is organized, that is the way that other people do podcasts. And it's a weekly thing. We do it for this long, and we always have guests, or we do it this way, or it's this structure, or it's this format. And for me, it's like so hard to figure out how I actually want to do that, or if I even need to do that at all. And oftentimes I always come back to the answer that I don't need to do that at all. That I can just do it the way that I want to do it and that I like to do it. And that's the hardest part for me to come to, yeah, fruition with. That the way that I do things is different than other people, but that doesn't make it bad. That doesn't make it bad. That doesn't make it bad. So if you have experiences like that where you feel like you're just your own worst enemy, like and getting in the way constantly of what you actually want to do, like I feel you and I see you, and I do that to myself, unfortunately, too much. Where I'm like, okay, this is my dream, this is what I want to do, but let me just not do it at all. Because if I do it, then I might be actually good at it and I might actually succeed. And so the more that I show up and the more that I expand my work and the more that people see me, the more that I was pushing things away and being scared to actually help the people that I'm here to help because I was scared that I would fail. And it's not like I don't feel those things now because I do, but I have moved through so many levels of it. But I'm ready to just like break through kind of that final level of that, of like pushing away what I actually want which is to share my voice, to help people, and to talk about spirituality because it's changed my life and it's been so profound and it's what is exciting and interesting and fun to me. And I love doing the podcast, but for some reason it feels like I can't do it the way that I want to do it. Um, but that isn't even true. That's just in my mind. Because there isn't even really a format or formula that I have that I want to do. It's just that I want to feel comfortable enough to show up consistently and have, yeah, like more people hear me, more people find me, more people experience my work. I want that not only so that I can help them, but also so that they can help themselves by just like listening to the episodes. Like, of course, I want to bring in more clients and things that I can do with my work, but I also do this because I know like listening to these stories and listening to these episodes with other people or different topics that we talk about or just sharing my own experiences will help people. Um, but I feel like I always come through this portal, this doorway, this crossroads of like, who am I versus like who I um should be, quote unquote, in order to be successful um in terms of like productivity and things like that. Like you must do it this way, where you launch it this way and you do it this way, and these are the steps. And oftentimes I make things more difficult for myself by not just following a formula. So I dance between the story of, yeah, like I am chronically procrastinating to push away these things, or am I truly being authentic to myself in terms of what I am actually doing and how I do it and when I do it. So right now it's like really about learning to tune into that intuition, that intuitive knowing, that intuitive voice, so I can see that for myself. If I'm like, okay, I have this, and this to do that I really want to do, that I really want to do, but no, let me just do something completely different. Like, am I doing that because the timing is off and I need to do those things later? Like, for example, do a reading or do some channeling, something like spiritual work where it's all about divine timing. Like, sometimes there are circumstances where I might be pulled to do something different in that moment. Um, and then come back to it later, and that's the exact moment I need to do it. But there's also times where I'm just procrastinating and I'm scared to do the thing that I need to do because I'm worried about how it will be received, like subconsciously, or I feel that I will not be able to do it as good as I should be, which is not true. It's like this inner saboteur, as RuPaul says, like it is not me, it is not true. And I feel and know that so many people can relate and feel that same thing for themselves. Like, am I procrastinating or am I listening to my intuition? Um, and over the last few years for me, it's also been really working on structure and organizing my personal life, like the things that I need to do every day behind the scenes, quote unquote, to take care of myself. And that has been absolutely essential. But I'm still, after like 3 years of working on this, figuring out how to actually do that for myself, like create structures. Like some of you know that I go on a walk every day. I've done it for today's day 650 in a row that I've gone on a walk, and I go on a walk for like 30 minutes to an hour every day, or more sometimes because I'm kind of crazy, and love to be outside, and that's like the time where I do a lot of my like meditating and clearing my thoughts, and clearing my energy. But there's other things that I know fuel me and help me feel better, And sometimes I just don't do them because it's easier to not. And I think where that comes from is that it's really the avoidance thing. Like I avoid things that are good for me, or I avoid doing things that will help me be successful because I'm not used to feeling good. And that's been something that Reiki has helped me with endlessly, like from when I started receiving Reiki and practicing and becoming a teacher and all the things I have done in the last like 7 years or so. It's been imperative for me to understand that it's okay to feel relaxed, it's okay to feel peaceful, and that's not like a threat to me, but there is still other emotions that I feel my nervous system, my emotions, my emotional body perceive as a threat because I'm not used to feeling them. Like feeling loved, feeling accepted, like things like that are not something that I feel used to, which is sad, but that's just life. That it makes it hard for me to allow those things in. So that's something I've been working on too the last like years and years. But really just opening up my heart and in the winter, I did a 40-day Kriya that was really about opening up the heart, connecting to this green energy, and green is associated with the heart. But it was really about stepping into leadership and stepping into the role of healer and mentor. And, I subscribe myself those words as healer and mentor and artist and teacher because those are the things that I know that I have to show up as. But just because I identify myself with those things doesn't mean that I'm not continuously learning and that I'm not on the path because with you in terms of being described as a mentor. But I really feel that that is what's so important to me when I find people that I work with as my own like mentors is that they're continuously evolving and learning and growing and also sharing about their experiences because that is so helpful for me to learn and see through and relate to because I think it's important to remember that every single person, whether they're self-subscribed as a spiritual person or not, every single person is spiritual and is on some kind of healing journey because they're all going through their daily experiences, daily life, and um, emotions, things come up throughout our life that are not positive, that are stressful, that are painful, that are horrific. Um, and it's up to us how we can receive those emotions, how we can like actually perceive them and integrate them into our body, or if we like ignore them and push them away. And so I was like thinking about it, thinking about something this morning. I'm like putting away dishes, and I was thinking about like how people talk about like being on a awakening journey and like spiritually awakening. And I feel like that word it sounds so cheesy and there are so much kind of silly cheesy things associated with that, or even like I don't know, offensive things where people are like, I'm awakening, you're not. Because everyone's just like at different levels of experience and we're all aware, but I do feel like the more that we bring in knowledge for ourselves, the more awake we are. And, sometimes having a spiritual awakening or any kind of awakening, it can be really difficult because it's not, you can't put those feelings back. You can't put those things back. Once you have an experience, whether that's something like super weird and out there, like a UFO experience that I've talked about, or seeing a ghost, or even receiving energy healing for the first time, or that's something like becoming more aware and cognizant to the way the world works around you. You can't put those things back. You can't have those experiences. Same thing when something painful or difficult happens to you, you can't unhave those experiences. You can not integrate them and not think about them and push them away and not experience them and just close your eyes, but it's like trying to fall asleep when there's a bunch of construction going on, which is what I experience every morning since they're building an apartment next to me for the last year. Um, which it's been really hard for my nervous system, and I'm really working extra hard for that. Um, just all the noise and the shaking and everything. But it's been such a metaphor for change and shifting in my life. But once we're awake, we can close our eyes and rest, but we can't go back to sleep. You can't go back to sleep. You have to wait till the next day to fall asleep again. Um, but I was just thinking about like it can be difficult to navigate your everyday life after you have some kind of awakening experience. So for me at this time, it has been vital to support myself into having some kind of structure. And like I said, that's the walks. I do things like meditation and breath work and other things to take care of myself. I take baths. I do an extravagant amount of skincare, and I like to journal and I like to make art, and these things can feel frivolous when so much is so chaotic around us, but it's absolutely essential for us to take care of ourselves and create routine and structure for ourselves as we are shifting and becoming more aware and more awake and awake, and to take better care of ourselves from a physical standpoint. If it is your intention at all to do spiritual work in terms of psychic readings and things like that. And I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast are also intuitives, are also healers, are also people working with clients. So it's been so much more and more and more and more important for me. The more that I teach, the more that I do things, the more that I have to take care of myself. So it kind of always is this been this storyline for me where I am expanding, I'm expanding, and then I get hurt, and then I contract, and I'm in pain, and I'm having a meltdown and I'm freaking out, and then I come back again, and it was like this highs and lows and ups and downs of life. And when I was younger, I was diagnosed with bipolar. I don't think that was an accurate diagnosis. I think I have ADHD. That is an accurate ass diagnosis for me, but I didn't find that out till I'm 31. So, you know, that was an experience that I had. And I've always had these kinds of highs and lows. But the more that I learn to structure myself is the more that I realize that I don't need to have highs and lows, that I can have um a good time. I don't need to have a great time every single time. I don't need to feel absolutely fantastic all of the time. Um and for a long time I was kind of like I had to push myself to feel good, and it was so difficult if I felt bad to um ignore those things, and then I would go into like a very intense emotional state. I at no point have any intention to ignore my feelings ever again, but because I am not ignoring them, they don't it's less intense and less of an outburst and less of an emotional like explosion inside of my mind and my body, um because I'm not hiding those emotions and I'm not pushing them down. So if I feel sad, I'm going to cry. If I feel like angry, I'm going to go do something that I can like let that anger out rather than like pushing it down and avoiding everything. And in my class right now, so I'm teaching a class, Akashic Deep Dive. I talked about launching it a few months ago, and we are about to start our second 6 weeks. So this is a 12-week class, and I will definitely launch it again. Um, but one week we talk about connecting with our ancestors and connecting with just like personal healing through the Akashic records. And one of my intentions is to really like clear out the avoidant tendencies within myself. And there's so many different ways that I would avoid things, and I still do. I'm working so hard on like clearing it all out. Um, and that showed up like me having a realization as I'm recording. That showed up exactly in the way of me not recording the podcast for like a month and a half, and um gonna put out episodes again and again and not actually putting them out. Um because I avoid things when they're good, and I also avoid things when they're bad. So there'd been a bunch of times in my life that I have avoided things so much that it caused very negative things to happen in my life, and chaotic things to happen, and one being like my bumper fell off my car, just so many different things that I was just like ignoring things because it was too difficult to actually take care of them, and not having the right priorities for myself. And one of the messages that the guides bring up for me and for anyone else is like learning self-respect, to respect ourselves enough to take care of ourselves, like, and taking care of yourself as you would take care of another. Like you wouldn't like be messy and rude and mean and like downright like fucking, yeah, abusive to another person, but you might do that to yourself. So just learning how to respect yourself, that is something that we're all, uh, maybe not all of us, maybe some of you guys already have that done, but those who are in this collective healing experience with me, like, we're working on that. We're working on respecting ourselves, loving ourselves. I do truly, truly love myself, but do I respect myself enough to show up for myself in the way that I might show up for another person? So, um, all that to say is, in my class, I taught this experience to go into the Akashic Records and to do a journey and to connect with something that we're wanting to work on and release. And for me, it's the avoidance thing. And I see how that shows up in my family, not only with my parents, but like the grandparents, things like that. Um, and how that has affected the dynamic and relationships. And like, and I live with my siblings, so it's like those things show up very easily. Like we got into a fight about like lawn work chores, and and it was because we were both avoiding having this conversation, and they like were holding a grudge against me because we didn't really talk about it. And now it's fine because we talked about it, but like I didn't, it's not like I intentionally didn't want to have that conversation. We just like both were avoiding the conversation. And it's very apparent that it's like this, yeah, this ancestral thing because we both have this same kind of tendency. And I can see it in my mom and my dad. So, you know, we're working on that. And I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to be the kind of person that, um, doesn't have those deep, meaningful relationships because they're avoiding having conversations, or they don't go super, yeah, deep. Everything's surface level. Or avoiding asking for help when you need it. And I've done that so many times in my life. Like I was thinking about in college, it's like thinking about one of the most fucking stupid ass extreme examples of how I did this when I was younger and like before my healing journey. And I'm still doing it, like I said, but it's gotten so much better. But we're clearing it out, and the timeline is closing, and I'm not going to be this type of person for my life. I just want to be someone that actually shows up and does the things that they say they're going to do, and to have the conversations they need to have, and to get deep and to get close and to really ask for help and really have people that you feel confident and close and comfortable enough with that you can ask for help and to deepen relationships and to create new relationships and be open for all these things. Like this is what I want for myself and I want for all of you listening. But I was just, but back to this silly ass fucking stupid example. So in college, I think this was sophomore year of college. I lived with a bunch of people, some people I'm still close friends with today, but I lived with a bunch of people. It was definitely a crazy, kooky, messy house. We had a lot of chaotic stuff. If you knew me in college, you know that we had something that called the Bone Throne. That was a chair, a giant throne that we made out of bones, animal bones, to be specific. There was weird stuff everywhere. It was very messy. So, um, you know, typical party type of house, but I had broken a glass in my room and I didn't realize it because the my room was so messy and chaotic and I was avoiding cleaning the room and I was avoiding being in my room and I would just like hang out in the living room because my room was so messy and I broke not even a glass, it was a glass pipe, a weed pipe, marijuana pipe, but it broke in my room because I was smoking in my room and just being degenerate and broke it and then I just went to sleep and then I didn't think of anything about it and there was messy clothes everywhere and then I stepped on part of that glass pipe. It dug into my foot. It was excruciatingly painful, and I was gushing blood. I was gushing blood, but this was like 3 in the morning, so I didn't want to wake up anyone in my house. I didn't want to, even though these were my friends, like I definitely could have asked for help. But I didn't think anyone would want to help me. I didn't think it mattered. I thought I could just suck it up. So I went to sleep with my gushing, throbbing, bloody ass foot. And then in the morning I realized, oh my gosh, it's actually really bad. Um it's not just like a little cut. It's like really, really bad. I have to go to the actual hospital. So in the early morning I decided I wanted to go to the hospital. Um I drove myself to the hospital. I texted my friends that I live with. I went to ER. Like they were obviously like, what the heck? Why didn't you ask us to drive you? Like what? But I was like, it's fine, everything's fine. I cut myself and I was throbbing on my foot. So obviously I can't walk. Obviously I can't walk. So I got a Swiffer wet jet from our house. One of those little things on a pole on a stick with barely any weight on the bottom, but a tiny bit of weight on the bottom that used to clean your floors. I used that as basically a makeshift cane or crutches, I guess, and I shuffled on that out to the driveway, drove myself 15 minutes down the road to the emergency room, and luckily at the time I was still under my dad's insurance, so it was fine that I just went to a random ER because now I have to like think about where I go because of America and the way our insurance works. So that is like crazy to think about. But anyway, I went there. I had to end up getting stitches and the worst part was the struggle from the parking lot. I got into the little concrete parking lot, and then the ER entrance was all the way across the street. I got that Swiffer wet jet. I was crying, moaning in pain, screaming in pain. Like it was really bad, you guys. And I someone from the hospital like literally came up with a wheelchair and they were like, let me help you. And I was like, no, I'll be fine. I can walk across the street. They obviously didn't let me do that. And they gave me the wheelchair and they helped me get across the street. And then we went to the ER. But I was refusing help from so many different levels and in ways that were literally injuring me, but then in other ways in my life where I just like needed emotional support, needed someone to talk to, and I didn't feel like anyone was there and available for me to talk to. And that's something that I'm really just like working on letting go of because I do have people in my life that would listen to me And also, of course, I have the podcast, so you guys can always listen to me. But in terms of like asking for emotion support, it can be really difficult. And I feel like a lot of relationships in my life was a lot of me listening and being the supportive ear and the supportive guidance, and not ever feeling like that was reciprocated. And also like trying to share stories and trying to talk with my family and things like that, and them just not having the attention span to want to listen to me, or whatever, they were busy. That's my perception. So that might not even be true. Maybe they do want to listen, but they're not listening in the way that I would like. So that's also something I'm healing. But if you feel like you're a person that avoids things, like what can we work on together to let go of that? Like, so for me, I am trying to, again, create these structures so I can have the feeling of accomplishment. Because when I can build up that feeling as being positive and positive and positive, like, um, the more that I will be actually doing it. Like I had this realization. So I was meeting with my mentor the other week, and she's my psychic mentor, Becca. I probably talked to her on the podcast. She's amazing. But I was meeting with her the other week, and I had this realization, just like listening back to the recording from our session. Um, but we talked about the avoidance stuff. And then I also talked about like the structures and doing things in my day that make me happy. And she was talking about like when you go on your walks, like what is the feeling that you're experiencing? Like, what is the feeling that you're experiencing that's like feels so good to you? Because my walks are like my favorite time of my day. I literally have done it for 650 days. So, like, clearly I like it. Clearly it helps me. But, like, what is it that is that feeling? What is it that is that feeling? And the only thing I can think of is like, it's flow, it's freedom, it's flow, it's freedom. Like, that's what I feel. Um, and then we talked about like I was like she was like, "Well, what else in your day makes you feel like that?" And I was like, "Well, that's really the only thing that I do every day. I mean, I do my skincare, like I take a shower, like, I'll eat obviously, but like I don't like all my other routines and habits are not as consistent other than I was when I'm doing like those intense challenges I did last year, like 75 hard and everything, are not as daily consistent as the walks. Like that's the only thing that's really stuck. So she was like saying, like, what is the feeling that you're experiencing? And then we were briefly talking about how I did the 40-day meditation Kriya, and how that was extremely helpful for me to have that consistency in my day. And she was saying, like, well, how do you feel when you say, like, oh, I did 40 days of meditation or I do my walks every day? Like, do you feel like happy? Like, do you feel proud of yourself? And I was like, well, I do, but like, there's also a part of me that feels like I'm bragging or like showing off or like, I'm better than you. Like people think that about me if I'm excited to share something that I'm doing that I am consistent about or that like I am accomplishing. And that is not true at all. Like I've had multiple people and friends and people in my life should tell me like going on my walks is inspiring to them and they started doing walks. I have lots of people on social media who always tell me like, oh my God, every time you share your walk, because I always share a little post of my walks on Instagram and stuff, and TikTok, and people are always like really like, oh, that remind me to get outside. Like people literally tell me that and inspire them. When I talk about meditation, no one is ever like, oh, like you think you're better than us. That's a false belief I'm making up, that people would think I'm bragging or I'm in competition with them um to do things that are good for me. And that's just some fucking projected shit from middle school or something. Like that's some fucking ancestral generational thing. Like that's some American societal thing. Like that is not true. Like that is not true. That is not true. Like people that genuinely love me or even people that don't even know me would be like, that's cool. Like, good job. And so like I feel proud of myself when I do like after I do my skincare at night, I'm like, hell yes, I did it, girl. Like I'm so happy for myself. And like, I'm an esthetician also. So like when my clients tell me like they've been consistent on their skincare, like I'm so excited for them. Like I see, I'll see people on random people online who are doing like workouts and sharing their workouts. And I'm like, oh, that's cool and that's inspiring. Like I don't ever really feel that. So why would I think that other people would feel that about me? And why would I be hesitant to take care of myself internally without even talking to other people about what I'm doing? Because I'm somehow like projecting that I am better than other people because I take care of myself. That's some fucking toxic masculinity shit. Like, bro, that's lame to take care of yourself. Like, where did I get that? Like, cancel, clear, delete, like, clear that out. And if you like can relate to that, like, let's let it go. Like, the story that like taking care of yourself is not cool or is not sexy or is not fun or is not something you should be proud of or is some or if you are proud of how you take care of yourself that you're bragging or like telling other people they're fucking shit or whatever. And that's also probably ingrained from like the internet, seeing what people talk to about each other. But that's not me. That's not you either. So, that's how I've been feeling. That's what's been going on and rattling around in my little mind. Um, it's May 8th. Last episode we put out was in March. So we are back for season 4. I have one interview that I recorded a while back that I'm excited to share. Finally, because I've been avoiding posting episodes because I'm like self-sabotaging, but we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're letting go of that story. We're letting go of it. We don't need to be that person anymore. Um, but other than that, I'll be coming in, sharing solo episodes. I have some things I want to talk about and some things I want to teach about. And we're going to be sharing some meditations. And then, yeah, I have lots of interviews. Um, just nothing planned yet. Nothing planned yet. We have lots of people to talk to, but we have to schedule now that I'm, ready to finally break the cocoon rebirth. It's 3:33 right now as we're ending this podcast. So that feels like a beautiful confirmation. I was gonna pull a card for us, but I feel like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So I'm gonna pull a card for us. This is from the Mother Mary Oracle deck. What does she have to share with us today? It's a new moon in Taurus. But yeah, I'll probably come back with some readings. Like I said at the beginning of the year, I'm going to do a few months of the new moon and the full moon readings. And maybe I'll do some more, but I'm just, as I said at the beginning, like I don't want to push myself into a format, into a formula. Like I just want to show up and share what I have in my heart, what spirit wants me to share, and I want to share conversations and I want to teach and I want to help people on their healing journey. So we have number 20, if you're a numbers person. Our Lady of the Star Blossom. And we have this beautiful Mother Mary figure with the roses. There's always roses, and there's also cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms are a symbol of rebirth, and roses are a symbol of protection, but they're also a high vibrational energy that helps you transcend from dimensions to the next. And here, these are these blue roses on her veil and thorns and rising vines. And The Our Lady of the Star Blossom. And I also love to look at the colors of the card. We have that blue and that green. So green connected to the heart, blue connected to the throat. That's what I'm working on. And I can guarantee most of you are also probably working on that too. Just allowing yourself to still be open to love, still be open to joy and peace as the world awakens, as the world transforms, as the world shifts in ways that are positive, and there are many that are negative too. So we need to be able to hold the frequency of love even when there is pain, even when there is darkness, even when there is destruction. We can still feel God. We can still feel love. That's our lifeline. We need to feel hope. We need to feel hope. That's our lifeline. I want to read from the book because there might be a message in there for us, because that's what I'm hearing. Oh, that's why. One of the simplest and most powerful spiritual techniques available to everyone is to ask for help each day from guidance that loves you unconditionally. So, yeah, don't avoid asking for help from your friends, from your family, but also don't avoid asking for help from God, from the universe. Be open to receive. Like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to connect. It's okay to speak to God. It's okay to have that relationship. Like, you are always available to receive. Um, you may not have a clear sense of who your guidance is, but more likely than not, you are not so sure. That doesn't matter at all, fortunately enough. All that is important is that you know that you have a team of higher spiritual guidance that loves you unconditionally, and that their job is to help you fulfill your divine destiny on planet Earth. Now that may sound self-indulgent, but in truth, when you succeed spiritually, everyone on Earth benefits. Higher spiritual guidance operates on a win-win basis. Whatever you ask, so yeah, there is no competition, guys, as we said. Whatever you ask your higher guidance for assistance with will benefit the entire human race. As Mother Mary has the spiritual goal of liberating all living beings, she very much wants you to connect, not only with her, but with their entire team of spiritual guides. It matters not whether those guides are tribal leaders from other lifetimes or star beings that resonate at the level of unconditional love, or angels or ascended masters, or more than likely a combination of some or all of these. What matters is that you get into a divinely helpful habit of daily requests for assistance. So yeah, we don't need to get tripped up on who and what are my guides and what do they look like and the names, and like it's just about connecting to that feeling of unconditional love, divine love, like connecting to source, like God, like what all that is, like that includes everything. That includes all of the different dimensions of beings and whatever, your ancestors, all of that. Um, we live in a free will universe, and although there are literally legions of angels and other spiritual guides awaiting our call, until we ask, they are not empowered to act. Our Lady of the Star Blossom comes to us with various messages. Firstly, she lets us know that we do have a team of spiritual guidance that wishes to assist us, that knows of our struggles, and that can see a way to help. She reminds us that we need to ask for help daily. You can do so by simply through a healing process and affirmation for this oracle. Our Lady of the Star Blossom also brings healing of an old wound of separation. We may have been conditioned to believe that our personal success only comes at the cost of the happiness or comfort of others. Perhaps we felt pressure or undermined by those that purport to love us and yet want to hold us back from our spiritual growth because they are scared of their own spiritual path, scared of change or becoming uncomfortable. Perhaps they threaten to leave us if we become too spiritual or weird, or perhaps they are far more subtle about their disapproval of our spiritual path. Perhaps they try to shame us if we do not have the house cleaned when they would like, or because they have asked the children to make their own lunches in the morning while we were meditating. Our Lady of the Star Blossom tells us no matter whether others may like it at first or ever, when we grow spiritually, everyone benefits. She asks you to surrender any hesitation about your spiritual growth and embrace it wholeheartedly. This is very much for me. It's like, and for all of us listening, but it's like the more that you connect with your spirituality, who you are, like that helps everyone because you can feel your truest self and you can be happy and you can be joyous and you can be open to help and you can be all these things because you're not like pushing down who you truly are and you're not hiding and you're not avoiding the things that you want to be doing in efforts to like be a certain type of way or the status quo or all that all that all that. um if you have recently connected with spiritual guidance more consciously or think that your spiritual communication abilities might be opening up, this is a confirmation of the truth of these intuitions. If you have been pondering on the identity of one of your guides, this oracle is a confirmation that your thoughts are heard. If it is helpful, the identity be shared with you as a name or some other identifier. If you're wondering if your guidance is trying to reach you, if the universe is trying to tell you something because you keep hearing a certain phrase or the lyrics of a song are playing in your head, then this oracle is a confirmation. If this message is loving and helpful, yes, it is from your guidance. If it is a fearful message or a feeling of foreboding, this oracle comes with a message that you are to surrender this to the Our Lady of the Star Blossom and allow for healing to occur and to pray to your guidance using the following process. So we'll say this prayer together. I call on the guidance that loves me unconditionally, and I ask for their protection, their help, intervention, and assistance in all ways that will benefit me and support my spiritual growth. Thank you. Our Lady of the Star, Blossom, Mother Mary, and all of my higher spiritual guidance who love me unconditionally, help me now and always. Help me now and always. And if you're open to receive, just ask. Ask for that help from your guides, from God, from Mother Mary, whoever you connect to. But also be open to ask that from the people in your life, at your job, from your clients, from your friends, from your family, from your kids, from your parents, whatever and whoever. If you need help, don't be afraid. If you're avoiding doing something because it feels too difficult, maybe you can have someone help you with that process. Someone you can trust, someone who you don't feel like judges you. And if you feel like you don't have anyone in your life like that, because I've definitely had places and times in my life where I didn't feel like I had those people. And I still like want to gather more of those people, please, into my life. Like deeply, deeply connect with that spiritual side. Like and ask them to help you draw those people into your life because just as we can manifest like money and stuff for our job and career and more clients, and I know a hell of people be trying to manifest love in a relationship and boyfriend and husband and a girlfriend and whatever. um we can also manifest those friendships and those divine connections, those soul sisters, soul family, you know we can bring that into our life as well. So some of us are avoiding intimacy. So it can be really difficult to have those friends. Even if they really see you, it might be hard to let them in because you're scared that they actually see you. So that's another layer of the healing journey that we are on. So let them see you. We are working on it. look at yourself in the mirror. That's something that I was doing yesterday, like looking at my face. Um, and I feel like it's just helpful to, yeah, ground yourself with your reflection because it's really easy when we're not happy with ourselves, or especially if it's a physical thing, like, oh, I don't like my hair, I don't like my eyebrows, I don't like my skin or whatever. Um, we'll avoid looking at ourselves in the mirror or taking pictures. So I think it's really important for us to like actually like see ourselves too. And that's why I love to take videos of myself too. Like if it's just like videos of me walking and stuff, I just like love to see like my energy, like who I am, like because when you look at yourself, you're only looking like at the reflection. So it gets kind of trippy because you're like, oh, that's not actually how I look. But so don't think of that too much. But like, yeah, I think it's important to see ourselves from an outside perspective too, like literally. So anyway, I love y'all. Thank you for listening. We are back with a vengeance, season 4, episode 1. And yeah, it's Taurus season. It's about to be Gemini season in a few weeks, which is my season. And so we'll be going to be doing a I'm not probably not a giveaway, just a disc sale. I usually do a sale every Gemini season for my birthday for readings and healing sessions. So stay tuned for that. If you are local to Sonoma County, where I live in California, I'm going to be doing some amazing workshops this summer. The first one's going to be the end of May, the last Sunday in May. So I'll put a link in my show notes to sign up for my email list if you want to be the first to know about any workshops. But if you want to see when I'm doing these in-person workshops, you'll get an email to the email list. So sign up for that. Um, but oh, there's a blue jay right outside my window. Blue jays are always a sign of spirit for me. But yeah, the workshop's going to be amazing. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop, and it's in a collaboration with my friend Melody, who is a massage therapist and an esthetician, but she's also a yoga teacher. So she's going to be doing a yin yoga and restorative flow that will be about an hour, and then we'll go into an hour healing, energy healing, and sound bath with me. And that's going to be at Radiate, which is a yoga studio in Sevastopol, California. It's a smaller studio, so there's limited spots. So if you hear this and you're like, please, Grace, I want to come, just send me a DM on Instagram. Otherwise, sign up for my email list, and I'm going to be sending out an email like next week about it. And I'm waiting to get a flyer from the yoga studio, but otherwise, I'm just going to make my own so I can let you guys know about it because I want you to sign up. And then, yeah, we'll be doing two events in June and one in August. So I'll keep you updated. If you are interested in a Akashic deep dive, I will be relaunching that most likely in the fall. And yeah, I had plans for doing Reiki classes that didn't pan out. Um, but I still have every intention to do so. We just haven't done it yet. So if you still want to study Reiki with me, you can always reach out for a private class and we can set that up at any time. Otherwise, just stay tuned and we'll eventually start doing those group classes again. So I'm looking forward to it. And I will see you guys in the next episode. All right. Love y'all. Thank you for listening. You are amazing. You are healing. You are healed. You are healed. You are healed. You are healing. You are healed. You're healed. You're healed. So be it. So it is.